Anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what some of you might be deciding to do with the certificate that you will get at the end of the day. I can pretty much assure you that everybody in this room will get a diploma, unless you really, really screw up today. And with that diploma, you will be able to take it to the SCCA. You'll be able to get your regional and your national license. Once you get your national license, then you will be able to go to either the American Le Mans Series or to Grand Am and get a professional racing license. Now, I don't know how many of you in here really want to do that, but even if you don't want to get a professional license, you're going to get a regional license or national license and compete on a regular basis in whatever series you decide. So I want to be sure that you kind of understand some of the responsibilities that you're going to take on when you get a racing license. No longer are you out on that racetrack just concerned about how fast you are going. That's not what racing is really all about. Yes, it's about speed, it's about how I can get the most amount of speed out of my car, but it's also getting the speed with lots of other people on the road. I saw yesterday when we were looking at people on the racetrack how you were reacting to the cars as they were coming around you. Now that's just one car at a time. In a race, you could conceivably, a lot of these SCCA races and in our races, start with 50, 60, 70 cars on a racetrack. 70 cars. So you've got to be mindful of keeping track of all of those 70 cars. Who's fast, who you think you can race with, who you've got to get out of the way of. It's a continual 360-degree visual that you are maintaining all the time when you're driving your race cars. Lots of people yesterday and the day before were talking about time. How fast can I go? Don't think about that. When you relax and you let things happen to the car and you're not fighting the car and you're not tense to get the time, to go fast, you will find that the car opens itself up to you and starts communicating with you. And driving fast is a communication between you and your car. And the easier that communication is, the faster you are going to go. If it's forced, if you force yourself, if you yell at the car, you are not going to go fast. So it's your job as you progress up the ladder of performance. A lot of you, I know a lot of you own really fast Porsches, and those cars have a capability that's up here, and you guys are getting closer and closer to to be able to experience where that level is. But all the while that you're doing that, just remember that it only takes one mistake to pitch that thing into the guardrail. And that mistake is usually happens when you don't plan it, when you don't think about what you're doing. And when you're on the track with 40 enemies out there, racing, the guys in the other cars are your enemies. You can go out and have dinner with them and pat them on the back when they're in the paddock. But when they put their helmet on and they get out there to compete, they want to win as much as you do. So you've got to take that into account and you've got to react accordingly. And that sort of mindset is going to get you to the end of the day with your car in one piece and you in one piece. So just kind of remember that. There's so many elements that go on during a race. My sort of expertise is long distance racing. Why do I like long distance racing? It's because it's extremely disciplined. To run in a sprint race, an hour race, you go out of the box, you run as hard as you can for 1 hour. That's all you have to worry about. In a 24-hour race, you have to run at that same intensity for 24 hours. And you've got lots of elements that come into the mix that have to be dealt with. The team, you know, in a 24-hour race, our actual working team is comprised of about 25 people. And you've got to get all those 25 people working together, hitting on the same cylinder. And that's a challenge. That's what I enjoy doing. And a lot of you, I think, could really be good at long distance racing, because long distance racing is a big bang for the buck. You know, you get a lot of driving time for the same amount of money that you would be spending for a short race. So there's lots of different options that are available to you from when you graduate from this program. I want you to feel that you can pick up the telephone and you can call me personally. I'll give you everybody my card if you want, and talk to me about what you're individually thinking about doing. And I'll tell you, be honest with you, I'll tell you, yeah, that's a good idea, or no, that's not a good idea. So have fun. You're going to have a degree of expertise that's going to help you, not only on the racetrack, but also on the highway, because everything you're learning here is equated to street performance. Street cars. These cars are, we don't do one thing to them to put them into a racing mode. They're street tires, or everything on them is street. When you get into your race cars, some of you have GT3 RSs and Carrera GTs and all those really great cars. Those have capabilities that are much greater than these cars. It's a whole different dimension. And you have to be able to feel where those limits are. Because the limits of these cars are going to be different than the level of those cars. Or the level of these cars is going to be different from the Ferraris that you might run, or the Lamborghinis, or whatever you're going to do. So it's that getting into the car and figuring out where the limit is to any given car under any given circumstances. That's the real key. Whether it be wet outside, today you're going to get a good opportunity to drive on a surface that is wet. It's different. There's lots of things that go on that some of you went through the master's program that we had here a couple weeks in the rain. From what the comments from most of our customers was that it was a fantastic learning experience, because rain really teaches you dimensions that you don't necessarily find out in the drive. So this is a continually developing scenario, and you will learn from it. Keep your minds open. Don't be bashful about asking questions. And again, feel free. My phone is always available. I give you my cell phone. Call me up and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, or I'm thinking about buying this kind of a race car, or thinking about doing whatever. And I'll be honest with you, and I'll tell you, yeah, that's a good idea, or no, that's not such a good idea. So, has anybody got any questions? That's good. We covered all the bases.
You've scared us all. You've scared us all.
No, it's not. I don't mean to scare you, but I want you to open your eyes and realize that some of these things that you could be doing, you know, it requires commitment. You know, just getting out there. If you just want to go out and race around as fast as you can do, rent a racetrack. Get a couple of your buddies together and go out and rent a racetrack and go out and have fun. But if you really want to take it to the next level, and you want to compete against people that are out there trying to get by you, that's a whole different deal. And to me, that's where the fun is. Just going out and driving as fast as I can, that really doesn't interest me. I'm not interested in seeing how fast I could go in one given lap. What interests me is how fast